His name is John Cena!
To evolve is to adapt and to conquer your environment. Evolution aimed to do just that. At Armageddon, all 4 men were involved in every Raw title match. Randy Orton challenged Intercontinental Champion RVD. Batista and Ric Flair teamed together to take on World Tag Team Champions the Dudleys. And Triple H would have to take on Kane and World Heavyweight Champion Goldberg in a triple threat match. Would Evolution claim and conquer, or would it be Armageddon for these 4 men? So, it's Armageddon 2003 and Evolution are in full force. You know, Randy Orton, he's getting there. I think at this time he had his legend killer persona, where he was facing Mick Foley, because Mick Foley was special guest referee of this match. But you know, Wwe 2K17, they don't have special referee matches, so you're gonna have to stick with some default ref, whatever. But Randy Orton was facing RVD in this match, and Mick Foley was special guest referee. I think Randy Orton had his legend killer persona. If you don't remember what the legend killer persona was, or you're a bit too young, basically Randy Orton decided that he wanted to bury a lot of the legends. At the time in 2003, there were a lot of legends in the WWE. Guys like Shawn Michaels. I think I'm not sure if Hulk Hogan was still there. You know, I don't think he was. Guys like Shawn Michaels. I think Hulk Hogan was there for SummerSlam this year. I'm not sure. I know they did face. I can't remember if Hulk Hogan was there. Obviously, Rob Van Dam is not a legend, but Randy Orton had a long rivalry with Mick Foley, especially. They had a few matches actually. If you haven't seen any Randy Orton versus Mick Foley matches, then you definitely need to go back and watch some of their hardcore matches. It was one of some of the best. Obviously, it's Mick Foley, so the hardcore matches are going to be good. But they had some of the best hardcore matches that you could that you'd watch. If you're not familiar with WWE in, let's say, 2000 and let's say the ruthless aggression era, because I think that's what this era was kind of named after. Like when the PG era came in, this era was named the ruthless aggression era, because I never heard anybody call it the ruthless aggression era, ruthless aggression era, while it was happening. So I think that got called that after WWE went PG. But as I was saying, there was quite a few legends in WWE at the time. Randy Orton was an up-and-coming superstar. Randy Orton at this time was like a Seth Rollins. The Evolution were like the Shield. It's weird that sometimes you have to explain it, because 2003 for me, it doesn't seem that long ago. WWE 2003, it doesn't seem that long ago, but it's like 14 years ago. So there are literally some people that have never didn't know what's going on, or might not have ever gone back and seen the ruthless aggression era, or seen like Evolution, and especially this pay-per-view. It doesn't really get talked about much, but it was a big pay-per-view for Evolution, definitely. They made history, as you'll see, and just WWE in general. WWE in general was different. It wasn't the Attitude Era anymore. It was.
What a display of heart.
It was like a ghost of the Attitude Era. You could say it was like a ghost of the Attitude Era, where we still had hardcore matches, but it was things were toned down a little bit, and then at times they would like just bring it all the way up, like with Edge and the sex scenes or whatever. But at this time, it was nice. It was nice. It was better than now. Obviously, everything changed in 2004 when they went PG. But it was better than now. I think we took a lot of this for. I don't know why Rob Van Dam's going John Cena on people. But it was so much better than now. But I think we took it for granted. Those that are actually watching in this era. Because we didn't know. We just didn't know. At the time, John Cena was different. Obviously we had Evolution, Batista, Randy Orton, Triple H was on top. You know, you had guys like Shawn Michaels that was still obviously Shawn Michaels was kind of an older generation superstar, but he was still kind of he was in a new prime. Obviously we had Goldberg and guys like Kane were fighting for titles, as you're gonna see. We had guys like the Dudleys, we had guys like Ric Flair still, over Dams, guys like Carlito. There was so many guys that were in this era, but ultimately Evolution were on top. It was a big deal. Evolution was a big deal. Evolution was a really big deal. If you never saw it, just go back and watch Evolution. But this match seems under wraps. Randy Orton would capture the Intercontinental Championship, and he would hold it for, I think, about 7 months. He held it for a very, very long time, as he was the first member of Evolution on the night of Armageddon to capture the gold. Next up, Batista and Ric Flair against the Dudleys. Would they capture the title? Let's see. Batista and Ric Flair, Evolution. To be honest with you, first of all, I don't know why Ric Flair is doing nonsense in this entrance. It's the game or whatever. Second of all, at this time, I always found it weird that Batista and Ric Flair tag teams. I always found that tag team weird. Let me skip this entrance because it's just killing me. But I always found it weird that Batista and Ric Flair tag team. It was just such a weird tag team. I guess it's because Batista was like a monster. So it's like, listen, Batista can really and truly handle it by himself. But you know, these tag team titles are the best looking tag team titles they ever made. I don't know why they don't just change them back to this. I don't know. The new tag team titles at the moment are just appalling. I love those titles right there. But as I was saying, Ric Flair from like 2003, I think he started wrestling like 2002 when he became SmackDown GM. He came back as a GM and then eventually started wrestling again. I always found it weird that Ric Flair won titles. Ric Flair won like tag championships. He won Intercontinental tag teams, Intercontinental championships. The only thing he didn't really win is like the United States Championship and the World Championship. But I think he had matches for the World Championship as well, though. But I always found it weird that Ric Flair was still kind of in the game. Like, people were still getting beaten up by Ric Flair, some old guy. I don't know if he was what, 50, 60, probably even 70. I don't know how old Ric Flair is, because this guy's still trying to wrestle. But I always found it weird that people would go get their ass kicked by Ric Flair. Batista, no. I understand Batista's a big ass guy, like Batista's a big ass guy in it. Like Batista shouldn't be the Brock Lesnar kind of guy. He was, in a sense. When he first came, he was a big guy. Like, it was like, listen, don't mess about with Batista. And Brock Lesnar was on SmackDown as well, so they never really crossed paths, and you never kind of compared the two. But then there was guys like Goldberg's at this time, and Goldberg always used to kick Batista's ass. So I always used to be confused. I always used to think why it is like Batista not world champion? Why is Batista not considered as one of the top guys, one of the guys that will come in and be like, yeah, listen, like, this is Batista, you don't want to mess with him, he will capture the world title, like, he can capture the world title, and like, this is a serious guy, big business. I think that's what a lot of people were annoyed at with Evolution. As I said, if you wasn't really around for Evolution, then you may have a different perspective, because when they talk about Evolution nowadays, if they ever talk about it, they kind of glorify it so much, because they talk about it in the sense that like that when they talk about it, they talk about Batista and Randy Orton as if they were world champions at the time, were what they were today, but it wasn't the case at all with either of them. Obviously Batista, eventually went off and done whatever he done, and Randy Orton went off and done whatever he done, both of them in respect, but at the time that there was an Evolution, it wasn't really, I don't know, there wasn't really what they were. They changed a lot from Evolution. When there was an Evolution, they were basically nobody's trying to move up the rankings. Batista, I don't think he even captured like an Intercontinental Championship. He would literally be capturing World Tag Team Championships with Ric Flair all the time. So it did confuse me. If you were watching back in those days, obviously you would know that like Triple H was kind of like the controller of Evolution, and no one could really come in and fight for the championships, the main championship, the World Heavyweight Championship, because Triple H would just be like, listen, you're not fighting for the World Heavyweight Championship, the World Heavyweight Championship is mine, you can have whatever else you want, and we'll leave it at that. So maybe that's why like guys like Batista and Randy Orton didn't really excel, as maybe guys like in the, people compare Evolution to the Shield, and in the Shield no one really won a world title because there wasn't really a leader of the Shield, unlike Evolution where Triple H was the leader. There was no question about it, because Triple H, like, if there were championships to be won, Triple H gonna win them. If there was a championship match, Triple H gonna win it. If there's Royal Rumble, you better not win it. If there was a Battle Royal, Triple H gonna win it. So there was no if, but, or maybe. It was only the little titles, World Championship, World Tag Team Championship, Intercontinental Championships, those kind of titles. If you want those, then go ahead, you can go and pursue your dreams. If you want the World Championship though, boy, you have to ask permission, or you either have to ask permission or somehow win it miraculously while Triple H is not there. So that was kind of the Evolution philosophy. That was kind of the philosophy in Evolution. But as I said, Ric Flair, he done well for himself. I'm not gonna lie to you. Ric Flair done well. Let me know. In fact, let me know in the comments what you think about Ric Flair's time in WWE from, I think it was until like 2000, was it 2008? WrestleMania 24 when he retired. So until WrestleMania 24, I think it was from like, he even had a match with The Undertaker at WrestleMania, I think it was WrestleMania 18 or 19. So Ric Flair was in the game. Ric Flair was Ric Flair was part of the guys in it. So I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments below of Ric Flair, and let me know what you think about Batista at this time as well, because it's interesting how Batista was this big guy, big dominant guy, but he wasn't really the dominant guy in the WWE. I think nowadays it would be different. I think nowadays if a guy like Batista came into the WWE, even when he comes back, you can tell from when he comes back to the WWE, he wins Royal Rumbles and stuff now. So let me know what you think about Batista, and the situation that he was in at the time of this era. But at the moment, Batista and Ric Flair were crowned new champions. So that was 2 out of 3 for Evolution. Ric Flair and Batista captured the World Tag Team Championships. Randy Orton had captured the Intercontinental Championship. There was only one title left to capture, and there was only one man that could capture it, but he was in a little bit of a pickle. So it's Triple H trying to capture the World Heavyweight Championship. Let's see if he does it. So it is the main event of Armageddon. Triple threat match for Triple H. Triple H, Goldberg, and Kane for the World Heavyweight Championship. Now, at this time, I know some of you guys, you wasn't able to really watch WWE 2003, or maybe you was too young, or you don't really remember much, because it can just go to the side a little bit, because they don't really talk about 2003, 2004 too much in WWE. But as people might be surprised that Kane was involved in a World Heavyweight Championship match, and this was at the time of Armageddon. Kane, it wasn't too recently, but it was quite recently that Kane removed his mask. And when he removed his mask, Kane was a monster. Like, for at least, well, I don't know about a year, but a couple months, Kane was a monster animal. Kane was not to be messed with. And he, even when he had his mask on, he was kind of in the title run a little bit. And a lot of people think Kane should have won the title at least once. He never picked up the title at all. He never ever picked up the title, the World Heavyweight Championship, for a long time. But a lot of people think that he should have picked up something. I think Kane should have picked up something to just cement Kane a little bit, because I just feel with the Kane character, like they had something. It was so, even like when they took off the mask and he's like this with the towel over his head. They had something. It was something new. It was like, listen, this guy's took off his mask now. He's angry. He's not happy. He's pissed off at everyone. He's pissed off at Triple H, because Triple H was the one that, made him take off the mask. He's pissed off at the world. He doesn't want anybody to know what he looks like. Let's just go. And he beat the hell out of everyone. Set fire to JR. Bang, bang, bang. Let's put him in a title match. You know what? He's angry. No one's gonna stop him. Bang, let's give him the title. And let's try and continue some momentum. But then it was like, oh, we just put Kane in a, he's got the momentum. We'll put him in a title match, and no one will notice that he won't win. He won't win. He won't be dominant. And we'll put him in like triple threats, and we'll put him in like tag teams, so he won't get pinned, but he loses at the same time. And I think they thought people wouldn't notice, but everybody. Goldberg, let me just say, look, this attire and the World Heavyweight Championship is one of the best looking championships on this game, in WWE. The World Heavyweight Championship just looks, oh my gosh. I'm taking back to 2003. This is 2003, look. This is 2003. This is Goldberg. I'm back to 2003, guys. This is why I bring you showcase mode. We're going back to 2003. Goldberg's out here, kicking ass. He's kind of new to the WWE. He hasn't had a year in the WWE, even though he only spent like a year. But don't worry, Goldberg is here, champion. kicking ass. We don't know if Goldberg's gonna win or not. WWE had to be a bit shaky. They gave him the World Heavyweight Championship. I'm not gonna lie, but again, if you were watching at the time, you'll know that WWE were very, very shaky with Goldberg. It wasn't the Goldberg that they bang now that could kick Brock Lesnar's ass and, you know, win every match. It wasn't like that. That's how it should have been, but it wasn't like that. That Goldberg kicking ass all the time. He did kick ass. No, let me not lie. He kicked ass. He kicked ass. Goldberg kicked ass, but he didn't. I don't know. Maybe if you watched WWE at the time, let me comment. You know, comment down below what you guys think of Goldberg at the time. Because I'm trying to explain it, but it's hard to explain. The reason why it's hard to explain is because Goldberg, you keep hitting them turnbuckles, bro. You're gonna bust your head like you done over there in Raw. But it's hard to explain what they done with Goldberg, because with Goldberg now, when like the Goldberg that you see today, that's kind of the Goldberg that was in WCW. But the Goldberg that came to WWE in 2003, when he first came, it was like, whoa, Goldberg, yes, Goldberg's going to kick ass. No one's going to defeat him. Triple H, kiss my ass. You're not going to defeat Goldberg. Who's Triple H? Goldberg's going to kick Triple H's ass. Goldberg kicked The Rock's ass. He's going to kick Triple H's ass. He's going to kick Evolution's ass. He'll kick everybody's ass. He'll kick Brock Lesnar's ass. And you know, it was just like Goldberg's going to kick everybody's ass. It was like,
It's going to take a whole heck of a lot more.
just as you'd expect. Just imagine Brock Lesnar going to TNA. Just imagine that, Brock Lesnar going to TNA. You'd expect, listen, Brock Lesnar's going to come in here and he's going to kick everybody's ass. I don't know no one that's going to beat Brock Lesnar. I don't want to see anyone beating Brock Lesnar at the moment. Obviously, maybe he might have to lose because, you know, it's another company. They're not going to just bring Goldberg in and be like, oh, okay, he's going to beat everyone. He's going to win every single match. Nah, obviously it's not going to happen that way. But, you know, I'm expecting, you know, Brock Lesnar. If it was TNA, for example, I'm expecting Brock Lesnar to come in, kick everybody's ass, you know, win a championship, maybe come in a rivalry after a while where, you know, obviously he can't win everything and, you know, he gets his ass kicked a little bit, or somebody has some cheating ways of beating him. Whatever, it's wrestling. But I don't want to see Brock Lesnar going into TNA and flipping Austin Aries is beating Brock Lesnar on a weekly basis. Although it was on a weekly basis, but every time Brock Lesnar's facing Austin Aries for the title and that, Brock Lesnar's not winning. And you don't want to see that, and that's, for me, that's how it was in WWE for when Goldberg first came. Well, Triple H is not Austin Aries. He's far from Austin Aries, but it wasn't expected that Triple H would do as well as he did. Triple H, literally every pay-per-view, Goldberg would lose. They had the Elimination Chamber in 2004. I think they had it in 2004. I think they had the Elimination Chamber in 2004, which is a bit after this. Where Goldberg was expected to win. Like, it was like, listen, it was like Triple H can't go anywhere. He tried to hide, he didn't hide. Goldberg kicked ass. You know, Goldberg came in, kicked ass and whatnot. I shouldn't explain it too much because I'll probably do one of those matches on Showcase. But basically, Triple H won in a dodgy way. I mean, yeah, I know he's a heel and he's supposed to kind of win in dodgy ways, which makes sense, you know, it makes sense in the narrative, but some of the ways in which he would win against Goldberg was like, okay, so you couldn't let Goldberg win, no. Some of it was just so like, some of it was like literally you lot couldn't let Goldberg win. You can so see that you guys did not want Goldberg to be the man in this company. That's how it was. So that's it wasn't nice, man. I felt sorry for Goldberg. I think that's why he left anyway, because he knew that, boy, if you're staying in WWE, then boy, they're still like, they're basically still like, listen, you just came from WCW, bro. Like, don't try and come in here and you know what I mean. Don't try and come in here and think that we're just gonna give you everything. Basically, that's how it was. So Goldberg got kind of shitted on and didn't really win much in his time with WWE. Wait, you know, what can you do? What can you do? I guess he should have expected that. I think people say he should have expected that. You're not gonna win in WWE much, mate. You just came from WCW. They don't really like you. First of all, they look at guys like Booker T, guys like Diamond Dallas Page, guys like, there was a lot of guys out there actually. There was a lot of guys that came from WCW that people were expecting to do something in the WWE, WWF. People were expecting guys to do much more than they did, and people knew that it was because you're from WCW. Like, you spent so many years trying to get us out of business. It was basically the faults of like the superstars. The faults where, you know, you lot try to get us out of business, and we don't like you for that. You're not gonna win all of our titles. You're not just gonna come in there and win the championships, the World Heavyweight Championships, the WWE Championships, the whatever championships were there at the time. You're not just gonna come in and win that. We're, you know, especially Triple H. Triple H is like, listen, I'm Triple H. Don't try and come in there and win titles, bro, because I'm Triple H. Not even Batista, man, they want to win the titles. So if you think you're gonna come from WCW and win titles, you got another thing coming. Get out of here, bro. Get out of here. Go to another company. Go and do something else in wrestling, bro. Because world championships are not going to be you, Goldberg. But he did win it. He did win it sometimes. And you know, at the moment he's doing well. But at this time, yeah, there was no chance of Goldberg kind of surviving. But Triple H would pick up the World Heavyweight Championship. Evolution would pick up every Raw title that they could hold for the first time ever. I don't, actually it's not first time, I think Four Horsemen did it, but for the first time in WWE, a faction held every single title that they could hold, and that is an accomplishment. Evolution were on top. Evolution were the best. Evolution were here to stay, and no one could stop them.
You're right. I think the entire landscape of the WWE